right place, right time, being attractive enough, and just getting out there pulls girls sometimes. And a lot of guys confuse that with success, really. Pickup skills may be failing is that you are practicing, you're learning some stuff, but you're learning the wrong. All right. And so that's just a thing, is that you may be, or probably or possibly are just learning technique. Now, I don't mean in terms of, because sometimes it's a good information, but not for you. So there's two things. There's straight up pickup stuff, right? There's a lot of crappy pickup artists and stuff on the internet that it just sucks. It's just not good. And anything will work on low hanging fruit, drunk or high girls, girls in different circuits. Girls, think about how many times girls sleep with dudes who have zero game and it doesn't matter, right? And so some of these people are literally on the internet teaching game. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the truth, like it's like if you just get enough repetitions out there and dealing with, whatever, just girls in the right circumstance and the right timing, even if you suck at game, you'll end up pulling them a lot of times. So, right place, right time, being attractive enough and just getting out there pulls girls sometimes. And a lot of guys confuse that with success, really. All it is success because of effort. It's not really success because of skills and being actually good at it. And why does that matter? Well, because these girls that they're pulling are probably not that great of experiences, right? You want to have good experiences and make good connections with higher level, higher, we'll say higher quality, higher level girls. You're not going to have that if your game's not at least a little bit better. And but guys will get laid and they'll just be counting lay counts or whatever. They're not qualifying it. They're just quantifying it. And that's a mistake. Counting lays is only one measure, and it's not even the most important one in my opinion. It's not even that close to the most important one. What's important is your level of happiness and you feeling like you're having good experiences. I mean, I certainly would take, and I think most of my clients would take 10 good experiences over 50, mediocre experiences. And so it's not so much the quantity, it's the quality that matters too. Now, of course, if you don't have sexual access at all and you have sex once a year with a halfway decent girl and you're saying, well, I'm really holding out for quality, well, then you're probably fooling yourself. But within, some sort of reason, right? You want to have quality experiences, your skills are going to point you towards that. And sometimes what you're practicing or doing, though, is just the wrong. And so it's either bad stuff, and sometimes some of the pickup stuff that's out there is so bad that you would be better off not doing anything at all, not learning anything at all, and just going out there and being a human being. Like some of the shit is so weak that it literally unravels how to just be a person, right? Like and people will practice the stuff thinking they're cool or they're funny or they're doing some technique, and it's all bullshit, and they literally are worse off than when they started. So you don't want that to be the case. That's the more, I don't want to say extreme because it happens all the time, but that's the more egregious situation, I guess. But there's another situation as well, which is just you're learning a method or technique and you're more or less LARPing that technique or trying to live action role play, or you're going to model. I don't mean to say LARP. Okay. Let's call it modeling, because modeling is a learning method. That's where you see how somebody does something and then you try to model what they're doing. But the problem with that is that you might be modeling something that works for somebody on a consistent basis that will not work for you on a consistent basis, because your personality type and your look and your archetype, what I call your archetype, how people perceive you, won't match what you're trying to do. And you won't be congruent at all. And women will pick up on that. Whereas the other dude could come in and do exactly that sort of game and that use those lines, use that kind of style, really, and do very well. So that's the other part of it, is that it's not that it's bad stuff, it's just the wrong stuff. and it's not good for you. So that's why that was the motivation for me creating my course. There's a lot of pickup stuff out there. Well, my thing is like there's so many people I've worked with who they had to learn their own style of doing it. You know what I mean? We get into this really divisive situation in the internet where, guys will learn somebody else's method and it's either not good or it just doesn't suit them. They won't get the results and then they become, a black pillar. They become nihilistic. They become negative on women because they don't have abundance of women. They try to deduce it to simple explanations, which don't really work or aren't really true, like, oh, it's all about your looks, it's all about this. It's not that looks aren't important, but there's certainly, a lot to be said about being able to make a connection with another human being, and in the case of getting chicks to want to bang you, making that connection in a seductive, attractive way. And the way that I might do that is going to be different than the way that somebody else might do it, stylistically at least, although many principles will be the same. Our personality types are different. So when I teach, I don't have someone just model or LARP what I'm doing. I have them develop their own style. And that's why my course is designed to do. Because some of you guys aren't going to go, some of you guys are going to go to bars. Hell, I go to bars. I enjoy it. I talk to new people all the time. I talk to new people on the street all the time. But what if you work from home in IT and your interaction is more social circle, right? Well, actually, social circle is the biggest way that that's the most relationships happen from social circle. They don't happen from dating apps. They don't even happen from cold meetings. And so social circle is the biggest pie on that pie chart for how people meet each other and hook up and get into relationships. And so for a lot of you guys who have adult jobs and adult lives, okay, social circle is going to be the way to go. How you're going to pick up a girl with social circle is going to be dependent on your personality, her personality, but also the environment that you're in. Okay. And so the social environment in which you interact with her at is going to dictate how you're going to approach your style, how direct or indirect you have to be, and so on and so forth, and what logistical steps you'll need to take. And there's just so much to it. So how do you figure all that out? Well, what you do is you learn some good principles and then you design your own way of doing that given your personal circumstance. That's what I do with people. That's the solution. But either way, whether it's my stuff or you learn something else, just be sure that whatever you're doing fits who you are. Okay. Now I know some of you guys can't actually really like, it's a bigger question. Who am I is a bigger question. What people want to admit, most people don't really know who they are. That's a fact. Most people don't know that. Okay. That's why in my mindset course, I have a whole chapter on identity. Literally building who you are is a whole thing. But provided, let's say you have an idea of who you are and what works for you, you're going to want to try something that's congruent and fits with that. You want to develop a pickup style that fits with that, not somebody else's style, or to do just something that's just outright and bad. How do you know if it's shitty or bad? Because you're going out there and you're doing it. Goes back to point number one, theorizing on the internet of what works and people lying about things, posturing, bullshitting you about all their lays and the things that they've gotten to work for them. That's not going to be important. It's going to give you a skewed idea of what reality is like. Your reality with women is what happens to you when you go out, okay, and actually work this stuff and talk to people. So that's what's going to give you that sobering reality is action and actually doing it.